it's Aunt Fanny again, and today I'm gonna show you what I do with my sourdough starter. I've kept it both on the counter for regular frequent use, and I've kept it in the fridge for the times that I'm just not doing a lot of baking. But this is today, I'm gonna feed it. I'm also going to clean the jar that it lives in, and I do that by basically just getting another fresh jar, and I'm gonna pour half or whatever amount I feel like I need to have that I keep, and then I throw away my discard. So this is my jar of starter, and as you can see, it gets a little crusty on the inside and it just kind of gets yucky. And so I'm just pouring it into a fresh jar. I mean, I got some streaks down there but it's a fresh, clean jar. It actually has a snack label on it, but that's okay. And then this will become my discard jar. And by discard, I mean this stuff isn't going to be freshly fed. It can either go in the trash or it can go into things that don't need to rise, right? That don't need to lift. Like if you want to make pancakes, you can get a really big collection of discard and do that. And then you don't have to have the yeast active to rise in things like bread. There are many recipes on the internet of what you can do with sourdough starter discard. So don't just throw it away if you'd like to bake extra things, scones to donuts to whatever you need. So whatever you want to do with that. Now that we have this, we're going to just feed it. And by feeding it, you're going to add water and some unbleached flour. So make sure that it's unbleached because you don't want anything in there that's going to sacrifice those wild yeasts that are growing. So what I do is there are measurements out there and you can get very precise. You can get kind of scientific about sourdough. I am not on the scientific train. I am more of I've kept it alive for a long time and it always tends to turn out really great breads. So I think I'm doing okay. So depending on how much I actually want in my jar, so some people would like just to keep it right at that. Some people like to keep it right down here. And then when they feed it, it'll jump up. I'm gonna keep it just below the half today, and then I'm gonna add some flour, and then I'm gonna add some water, and I'm gonna mix that up, and then I'm gonna set it on the counter and let it bubble up. And as long as it begins to bubble and to grow, it needs to like probably about double in size, depending on how much flour I add. But you wanna make sure you add enough flour to feed all of the yeasts that are in your jar. So don't be stingy with feeding it for sure. And then once it starts to bubble up and double, then I'm gonna put it's a little hairnet. I get them at the dollar store. They're called cover-ups. There's a bunch of different sizes in there. I just poke a few holes in the top. I put it over top, and then I put it in the fridge. And we call that good. The main thing is that I want the consistency to remain the same. I want it to be like a thick pancake batter. So after I feed it, see how that just really is thick. I want to keep it about that thick. I'm going to add some flour. And then I'm going to add some water. Okay, usually I will use a wooden spoon to do the stirring. There's lots of people that will tell you never use metal on wild yeast. I have used metal before in a pinch and it has not done anything negative. I don't know if that's with regular use it would do any difference, but so I'm just gonna mix this up. And then once I get it mixed, you can already see my jar's getting dirty. But I'm just gonna mix this up and just try to keep that consistency good, and then make sure I have put enough flour in there to feed all of those yeasts that I need to feed. I'm gonna add just a little bit more flour just to make sure. And then just a little bit more water. I started with a cup in there, so I've used about a half a cup of water, and what have I used? Maybe about 3 scoops. Those are not tablespoons, those are much bigger than tablespoons. 3 little scoops of flour. Now this is how your jar gets yucky, because I like to keep as much as I can. So you could try to just keep wiping it with a paper towel or something every time that you clean it, and try to keep that edge, at least that lip, nice and clean. And so here is my fed starter. So I'm gonna put my little shower cap on it. my cover up, and I'm gonna set it out and I'm gonna watch for it to grow. So I don't want it to overflow. So if I think that I may have overfilled it, I can either dump some out or I will just put a plate underneath it so that I can catch all that and just wash it off. But I'm just gonna leave that there. And then what I have left is my discard, and I can just put this back in the fridge, use it for whatever discard recipes I may have, or I can just throw this right into the trash. When you go to store your sourdough starter, if you use it frequently, then keep it on the counter and feed it about every 24 hours. If you're not gonna use it frequently, then put it in the fridge and then just try to feed it every week. So here it is several hours later, fully fed. It has nearly doubled in size. It's almost to the top there. It's nice and bubbly, just the way that it needs to look. I'll go ahead and put that in the fridge, or I can bake with it right now, but always bake with freshly fed starter. Thank you for watching my video. Please check out more.